Welcome back, everyone. It's episode 3 of the Game, Sports, and Life in General podcast. I'm your host, Chubbles. It's Wednesday, April 4th, 2018. With me tonight, we've got Triple Rinse. We've got Lion Sword. How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. Baseball season has officially started. We're a week in. I think I've watched more baseball in the last week than I've watched, good week. I'm excited about it. We can just not talk about the Royals. Let's talk about baseball in general. Although Jake Junis looked really good. Jake Junis looked really good yesterday. He's the only Royals player that's looked good out of the rest of the whole 25-man roster. He looked real good yesterday.
He was a nice streaming option in fantasy.
For real.
For real. All right. You just have to trust us on this one, Triple. All right, let's dive right into the games. Guys, what you been playing? Lion, we'll start with you.
I've alluded to with the intro, I've been playing a lot of baseball. Not only have I been watching baseball, but MLB The Show for the PS4, MLB 18 came out here about a week and a half ago. And I've been playing a lot of that, man. I'm awful. I was playing it before we came on the podcast, and I lost to a guy 10-1. And a 6-inning. One of the events that they're running right now is a 6-inning event.
Were you playing with the Royals?
I lost 10-1. No. Although I probably would have done better if I had been playing with the Royals. The way this event works is that you can only have so good of a team. Like, you can't put like all of the stars and stuff that you have on your team, so you have to kind of balance your team out. And so the playing field is leveled. You can't have all these people that buy all of like Mike Trout and Jose Altuve and all these guys and put them all on the same team. That doesn't work. So the playing field is leveled. I'm just bad at the game. So there's some issues with the game in general. Defense doesn't really react as crisply as you would think. If you steal home and bunt, you make it every time.
Nice.
The only way to prevent it is to step off. Like you just have to step off if there's a guy on third and see if he's going to steal or not.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he'll steal and he'll bunt, and by the time the ball gets to the pitcher or the first baseman, the guy's sliding through home. So that's a little frustrating. You're going to have guys that cheese that stuff. Should we invite Murphy to the podcast next time?
He invites himself anywhere he pleases.
Indeed. So anyway, I've been having lots of fun with MLB The Show. I've been playing a little bit of Borderlands with my buddies. I've been playing a little bit of Diablo by myself when I get time, and then I've been playing a lot of the Star Wars mobile game, Galaxy of Heroes.
Nice.
On my fancy iPhone, and it's a lot of fun. It's something that you can spend an hour to an hour and a half a day in small intervals doing, and then you put it down and you don't look at it again until the next day. And it's not something you can just play all the time. But
I've seen you pull it out a lot of times at in our bowling league. You'll be fighting people, and I'll kind of peek over and see what you're doing. And
turn on
pretty cool.
Turn on auto battle, go bowl, come back, sit down. I've done things. It's great.
Yeah.
So that's me. What you got, Triple?
Completed Assassin's Creed Origins. That was a pretty good game. I liked it. It was a better one since Black Flag. It's about the only one I played since Black Flag. But
now, when you say completed, does that mean you did all of the achievements or just did the story?
Main story mission. There's a lot of other side quests that I haven't got to, but that's hours and hours and hours.
Sure.
Back whenever I could have. I think the only Assassin's Creed, the first one, I think is the only one that I got full gamer score, and that's 100% completion altogether. Like all feathers, they're just all over the map. You had to try to get to and get all those, but anything now it's like 10 or 15 gamer points. Don't have the time for it. Been playing Super Hot on the Oculus Rift. It's a pretty cool game. It's kind of like the Matrix, but in a glass world. So you shoot them, they shatter, or they shoot you, you shatter. Um, you have guns, throwing stars, samurai swords, the works. Um, Played Far Cry 5 a little bit, wasn't too impressed with it. And then I've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves. It's been a fun game. Um, it's nice to have it and not have a competitive game, just a game where you can goof off with your friends and go complete missions. And then I have also uh, made my Sega Raspberry Pi 3 case, finally modded, full USB supported, HDMI, Ethernet, and power out the back. So
That's awesome.
yeah. But that's about it. What about you, Mike?
I haven't gotten to play a whole lot lately. I did get to play a little bit of Diablo the last couple weeks. During March Madness, I got really sick over the course of a weekend, and my wife and kids just happened to be out of the house all weekend, so I literally sat on the couch and watched basketball and played Diablo. So while that was going on, my brother hopped on Diablo, and he and I got to play for a bit, and his characters are leveled way, way higher than mine, so I sort of got to ride his coattails and level up super fast. And in the process, we met up with some random dude who just joined up with us. And he didn't have a communication device, but he was clear he was trying to give us items out of his, collection. So he kept dropping this hammer at my feet, and so I picked it up for my Crusader character. And I looked at it and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm level 58 at this time or so. And I look at this hammer and it does 610,000 damage per hit. And oh, by the way, it strikes 9 times every second. It's obviously been, highly modified somehow.
That's one of the things with the console version of Diablo is if you play outside of their seasonal play, it's relatively easy to modify items in the database and kind of just create your own deal.
Yeah. And so at first I was like, oh, I don't want to use this. It's just going to taint the system. It doesn't, it's not
cheat codes.
Not the point, right? It's like a cheat code. My brother's like, no, you've got to try it. This thing's awesome. So of course I used it a little bit, and I finally got myself leveled up to 70 recently. But now that I'm to the max level, I'm not going to plan on using it much anymore, and I can actually play legitimately from this point on. But
I like to say, you're level 70. Now the game actually begins.
Now the game actually begins.
What rank are you, Wes?
70.
70.
70 is the max level. They have an alternative Paragon system that you gain Paragon levels. My Paragon level is like 1,500, which is not high. And I know people that get 2,000 to 3,000 within a season.
Wow.
Every season.
My
my cumulative Paragon is about 1,500. I usually play to about 800 or 900 Paragon each season. So yeah, and then after the season ends, your Paragon experience just rolls into your previous cumulative experience. So if I got to Paragon 800 in one season and had never played before, my non-seasonal Paragon will also be 800. And then if the next season I got to 800 again, my non-seasonal Paragon would be like 850. Because it's just a number, it's like an amount of experience. They just add the sum of experience to whatever it is. So 800 plus 800 does not equal 1,600. Right. It equals like 850. So yeah, that's about where I am.
Gotcha. So yeah, I'm just starting in with the actual real part of the game. So that'll be fun going forward. I've been playing Call of Duty with Triple and some of our other guys, and it's normal Call of Duty BS, which brings me to our next point. I wanted to start a new segment of our show this week. And I'm just going to call it the BS of the week. Do you have the video all queued up, Triple?
Yep.
All right. So we were playing Team Deathmatch on the USS Texas map, if you're familiar with Call of Duty World War II. And me and some of our teammates were holding the bottom floor of the main hull of the ship, which is a big, intersection in the map. And excuse me, we were holding the map down there, and as I was kind of strafing back and forth to look for guys, this dude spawns and walks forward a couple steps, chucks a grenade up into the bridge, goes through the window, down a stairwell, down all the stairs, back to where I am, right at my feet, and kills me. From my perspective, I had no idea what killed me. I just exploded and died. And then I see his BS kill cam. I was upset when that happened.
It was
You could
total
say
luck.
you could say that he totally meant to throw that grenade so that it would fall down into that hole and roll down the stairs and end up at your feet, right? Like that's totally a thing.
It's possible, but he was using a sticky grenade, so therefore it touched nothing until it like hit my feet. I mean, he had to dodge several objects and lob it perfectly up into the window, down a stairwell. It's so frustrating when people do that stuff.
Well, you can see in the video that he clearly was trying to just the upper deck area is where he was trying to aim the grenade. At.
Yeah, I would guess that's what he was trying to do, and he just happened to throw it down the stairwell. I guarantee you, as soon as he did it, he was just like, "Oh my gosh!"
Total luck, but
How
I
did that
really
even
tried to do
happen?
it.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the BS of the week. So if you guys feel like recording anything that you're playing, maybe somebody does something in the show that you want to record or share with us, or see if something happens, that'd be awesome to share. But okay, so let's move on. I've been wanting to do this ever since we started the podcast. Let's get to know our hosts a little bit. I'd like to do a Q&A session where I will bring up a number of topics. Basically, I'll ask a question and we'll each take turns answering it and just kind of get to know each other a little bit. Does that sound good, guys?
I like long walks on the beach. I like
we might
steak
want
and
to-
potatoes.
We might want to get some like elevator romantic music in the background.
Do we need to make this like an M-rated podcast or something? I don't know.
Oh, we
Just-
did that
just
last
go on
time.
with the questions.
All right.
Gee,
Favorite
I love you too.
Hey, time out. We're starting the Q&A. Favorite video game genre?
I'll go first.
Please do.
My favorite game genre is RPG. I've been in love with RPGs ever since I started playing them. My first RPG probably that I like actually played with a conscious thought was probably Final Fantasy VII. I played Super Mario RPG on the SNES before I knew really what an RPG was. I just thought it was a neat game at the time. But Final Fantasy VII is really what opened my eyes to the RPG world on my PlayStation. This would have been back in like 95 or 96. And I love the story elements of these games and how you're reading through the author's intended story. The story and get you to care about the characters. There isn't another game genre that comes close to it for me at all.
Sure. Excuse me. Triple, what's your favorite video game genre?
Say competitive, it'd probably be first-person shooter, but more solo would definitely be the RPG market. Also, just love like the building your character, progressing through it, and evolving, and then the gameplay evolved from that. So, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of echo the same thing. If it's a social setting where I have other people, an FPS there's no better method of playing, in my opinion, because you just have the fast-paced action, you have the funny
Teamwork.
back and forth, teamwork. Well, attempting teamwork for us. But if I'm gonna go solo, for me, it's more like an action RPG, like a Diablo or Marvel Ultimate Alliance, those type ones where it's just the isometric beat 'em up, but you also have the RPG elements to that. I find those extremely fun to play, and I can just sit there for hours doing that. Okay, best console controller. Scott Lyon.
as I may have alluded to, I'm a Sony guy, PlayStation guy. I've owned every PlayStation that's ever existed.
Sorry, nobody's perfect.
And so my answer is the PlayStation. The PlayStation controller has been the same for the most part since the PlayStation 2. I think they added the little extra length to the trigger buttons, to the back shoulder buttons, L2 and R2. I love the way the controller just sits with the thumbsticks right. It's just it fits your hand perfectly for how you would expect your hands to sit when you're holding a controller. So, I wrote down you don't need to change perfection, and they haven't really changed. They've been the same for 3 generations now. So that Sony PlayStation controller is definitely my favorite.
Sure. Triple, what you got?
Xbox Elite controller. It just has the added triggers and the flapper panels to where you can, assign them to different triggers. Pretty much that would be it.
Sure. Excuse me. I would have to agree. Oh, get out of here, Lion. But listen, more than one can play at this game. So yeah, the current Xbox One controller, I think it's phenomenal. I've tried using PlayStation, and obviously this is what I'm used to, so I feel like this is the best. This is kind of a throwaway topic, honestly, I guess, since we all have our own favorites here. But
well, it's all personal preference. So
yeah, absolutely. So I just love the layout that they've settled on for this. Location, the length of the trigger pull, everything is. I love this controller. The thumbsticks have the right amount of resistance to them. I think it's a great job.
Yeah. So I mean, how long ago did you get your first Xbox? Like, you've been using an Xbox controller since
probably early 2002, I would guess.
So you've been using basically the same controllers for 16 years.
Yeah, I guess because the S model came out shortly after the actual Xbox released. So yeah, whenever the S controller came out until now, yeah, it's been more or less.
And you get used to something for 16 years. I mean, that's going to be what you prefer.
Yeah.
So my preference is the Sony controller, and you guys' preference is wrong. So I don't know what to tell you.
Well, Microsoft did monkey around with the black and white buttons, and then they didn't. It's like they couldn't figure out where to put it on the actual controller itself. But ever since they added the guide button, and then they settled on the 2 menu buttons, it's well done. All right, so let's switch gears here. What is your worst or your least favorite console controller?
Yeah, for me, it's the Wii controller. I loved the idea for the Wii controller, and for some games like their Wii Sports, where you play tennis and golf, and some other games, it works great. It's a great niche controller. My problem is for like mainstream gaming, like when I was trying to play Zelda Twilight Princess and swing my sword like this with my controller and do the spinny move with the other dongle thing over here, I was like, this is literally what I look like playing Zelda Twilight Princess with my Wii. I'm doing this in front of me like the entire time. And it got really annoying. And so as someone who, I'm a little old school when it comes to gaming, like I want to sit with my controller like this. Yeah. I don't want to move. I don't want to have to like be moving around. So I love the Wii controller for what it is and for what it presents, but from like a mainstream gaming perspective, it just didn't work in my opinion. And I think Nintendo agrees with that, since they quickly released the Wii U shortly after the Wii and created a pad controller for it. So
yeah, it was a fun. I don't want to say gimmick, because I mean I think they successfully made what they were trying to do.
Yes.
It just wasn't.
It didn't hit mainstream. It didn't fit mainstream.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. One of my biggest pet peeves, and it's just because we bowl often, but trying to do Wii bowling. It is nowhere, not even remotely close to real bowling. Like, I'm sure you and I are probably in the minority, but like my real life average was easily 30 to 40 pins higher than my Wii bowling score.
Yeah.
But anyway, Triple, what's your least favorite console controller?
The fat, whatever you want to call it, the original.
The bear.
The bear. The Duke.
The Duke.
The original Xbox controller. That thing was so huge, and that was the main reason why I didn't get an Xbox for like the longest time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not a good design.
Yeah, definitely not. What about you, Mike?
For me, I'll probably get a little backlash on this, but for me, it's probably the GameCube controller. I realize it's similar to these types of controllers, the current day ones, but my biggest gripes with that are got to be the little C thumbstick on the right side and the trigger pulls that you had to pull for days to get for the button to actually register. I just never really cared for it. You know, I loved the N64 controller. It was bonkers at the time, but it worked, and I liked it.
I almost said N64 to the answer to my favorite.
Yeah, controller. I love that controller, and it feels like they tried like forcing some of those elements into the GameCube controller, and it just, to me, never really worked. But all right, next question. Best hidden gem video game.
Why, since you asked, I just happen to have this game sitting here on my ledge. This, if you can get the glare off of this, there we go. This is Legend of Dragoon. This is one of the only RPGs, if not the only RPG, that Sony actually made themselves. One of the best RPGs I have ever played. It is incredibly underrated, and it's got kind of a niche following. There's anybody who's played it will tell you that it's one of the greatest RPGs that's ever been made. So this definitely qualifies. If you are a fan of RPGs and you like playing some of these old school RPGs and you can find a copy of this, they put it on the PSN store a couple years ago. It's like $10. If you like old school RPGs, you need to download this game and play it like right now. It is so good.
Triple, what you got?
Come back to me. I'm trying to make sure that I actually put the name on it right. It's
all right.
It's an old Xbox 360 game that I'm just trying
to. Okay. Well, while you're looking that up, I'll go ahead and hit mine. And
this was your idea of a question. How do you not have the game on the top of your head? What is wrong with you?
Okay, so it's Indigo Prophecies. It was made by you know the name Heavy Rain. Did you play that one on PS4 or PS3? It was the same people that made that, but it was their original game that they made.
Very nice.
It was a very good game. It had different endings, and depending on how you played it and everything like that, which I like. So that was my hidden gem. You can actually get it for I think $5 on Steam, and it's remastered version of it.
Nice. All right, so my best hidden gem game. I don't have a great answer for this because I feel like this game actually was kind of slightly popular. Well, I don't know about that. Anyway, did you guys ever play Splosion Man for the 360? It was in the 360, one of the Xbox Live Market games. It was just a side-scrolling, adventure game, but I don't know if it started off as an indie game. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. My wife and I enjoyed playing it together. The music was fantastic with it. It was challenging, but it was still really fun to play. That's my answer for that. Okay. Lion, what is your favorite Mario game across all consoles?
My internet sucks right now.
Yeah,
The answer to this question,
we're having some difficulties. So
yeah, the answer to this question is Super Mario World on the SNES. And any other answer to this question,
yeah, still having difficulties. Try that again.
well, it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
see my little Skype thing saying no internet connection. I don't know what's
Well,
anyway.
Mike's been frozen for like the last 20 minutes probably, or 10 minutes probably.
I have.
Yes, it's just you sitting there staring at the screen,
Oh, good.
and I don't know if it's my fault or yours.
Well, everybody's video is working perfectly well. No, I just lost Lion. Oh, he's back.
And he's back. So this line will
We're totally
actually
going to keep all this in, right?
yes, and this will go into your previous what you were going to say anyways after following the Mario question. Go ahead.
Anyway, Super Mario World on the SNES. I'm going to keep my answer short and sweet. That's the right answer.
Yeah. Okay, it's the right answer. If we disagree, we're wrong, is what he's gonna say. Triple?
Mario 64. Actually,
Mario 64 is a solid answer.
yeah, I'd say that or Super Mario World. I finished Super Mario World, but I never was able to beat. No, I beat in 64 version. Yeah, I'd say in 64 version Mario.
Cool. My favorite Mario game is going to be Super Mario RPG on the SNES. I loved that game. I know for the RPG purists, it's not like the most involved, the most, RPG-ish game, but I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was well written. There was a lot of humor in the game. There was just a lot of content and things to find. I thought it was great. I do like Mario World on the SNES. That's probably my runner-up. So we do all agree that that game is great, at least.
I think we fully lost Lion now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right, we're back from the technical difficulties now. So let's continue. Let's continue this conversation.
Okay, so are we back? We're rolling?
We are back rolling. Yes.
Okay, well,
Small
this is
small hiccup.
perfect. We're actually live and running now.
Yes, not live but running, recording.
Well, thank you, Triple.
We are
All right.
live now. Like, I'm alive right now. Are you alive? But when I said that, now it's not live anymore because that was then. But this is now live. All right, I'm done.
All right, next question. Least favorite console?
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Go Lion.
I hope you're... Oh, we're still having technical difficulties.
Go Lion. Go 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 go.
Go quick. Quick.
Not quick enough.
I don't have a least favorite console. Like, I've never really owned an Xbox, so I guess that makes the list. But
I thought you
Like-
do own an Xbox right now.
I mean, own is a vague term. I did not pay money for it. I physically have it in my possession.
You have it on long-term loan right now.
Yes, at no cost. Yeah, I've enjoyed games on every console I've played. I mean, I played Halo with one of my buddies in college. We played so much Halo campaign. It was great. So I don't like. I have a Switch. So I've talked about my Switch on this podcast, previous episodes. My Switch is awesome. I love it. I play handhelds. I own a 3DS and a Vita. So I play a little bit of all of the consoles. I have to say that I've liked something on every console.
Well, and that's fair. I mean, since we're asking least favorite. It's not asking for a bad console or one that you hated. It's
Yeah, the Xbox sucks. Mostly because you guys have one and I didn't have one for the longest time. That's still the reason it would be my least favorite.
fair enough. All right,
Triple?
Um, all the PS3 and 4, yeah, them right there.
Really?
No, I mean, there was a select games, and the games that were on those were actually really good that were exclusive. But I mean, that's all I played it for was because I mean PSN is not Xbox Live. I mean, they definitely don't have the networking that Xbox does. But like Infamous, that was a really good game, and all the Uncharted were really good games. But I mean, for the most part, it just sat there collecting dust and used as a Blu-ray player before really the Blu-rays were mass produced.
Yeah. Well, and that's fair because I mean, y- like Triple, you and I have played together for several years, and all of our buddies, we all have Xboxes, so therefore we're all going to play Xbox. I've told Lion this in the past. I said if it weren't for you guys, I probably would be a PlayStation guy, so I could play MLB The Show.
One game get you.
I'm
When you're a baseball fan, man,
I
that's
will.
the only baseball game around.
I will say that the new Spider-Man looks amazing for the PS4.
Yeah, this trailer just came out today, right?
Yeah, I mean it looks almost movie-like. I don't know how it will play, but I mean,
I mean, I'd be happy to do some recordings and let you guys drool over it and
yeah.
play it.
And I'm like, if I only still had my PS4, then I would be able to play that. But I never played it, so I sold it.
sure. All right. So my least favorite console, I'm going to give two answers, and I'm going to explain why. But my first answer is going to be the GameCube. Reason being, I don't feel like it came out with a ton of great games that I personally enjoyed. There was a lot of good games that I did play, like Animal Crossing and Smash Brothers and et cetera, et cetera. But nothing that I don't know, nothing that was super great in my opinion. Plus, I didn't like the controller, as we previously stated. And at the same time, you had the PS2, which is, in my opinion, one of the greatest consoles. You have the Xbox. Oh no! Stop listening.
That's the connect for you right there.
You had the original XBOX. Ha! Gotcha. Um,
The
and
AI is taking over.
those consoles just, oh my gosh, you had Grand Theft Auto on the PlayStation, you had Halo on the Xbox, and I was just, oh, these games are great. So I literally sold my GameCube and bought the other two consoles instead. So that's my main answer for that. The answer I probably should say is the Xbox 360. But I don't feel like I should because, like, my favorite games of all time,
playing on that.
I've probably played the Xbox 360 more than all other consoles combined, time-wise, I would guess. But
I agree.
when you
I should say the same thing. I had 8 Xbox 360s, and they all pretty much bit the dust.
I was gonna say, when you can release a console and then immediately have just problem after problem, and it's the same problem. It's just a complete failure of manufacturing or engineering on this console. But yeah, you went through 8 consoles, you said?
Yeah, 8. You had
I
2, right?
well, so yeah, my very first original one broke a week after the warranty expired. Awesome. So Red Ring of Death there. The second one I got red ringed, so I sent it off, got it back, and it worked great for years up until this last fall. It finally bit the dust again. So yeah, I only went through 2, but red ringed on both of them. And that's not bad for 13 or 12 years, I guess.
And you still had the original faceplate cover that you could switch out.
I did.
And how sad is the statement of this console, I only had to go through 2 in 12 years. Compared to like other people have had to have a lot more issues. Like, why is that the acceptable standard for console? Or it doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's the same thing with games in general now. I mean, we can go back on our preacher box and say they just didn't make them like they used to.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Just thinking back, it's just a complete failure. If the games weren't so great with it, it would have been just an utter disaster. But like, it ran so hot that the fan ran so loud, and like the user interface was bad in my opinion for most iterations. They changed the UI on it constantly, and I never thought it was good at all. The UI seemed laggy all the time, just in the general menu skimming. Yeah.
I do want to make
my answer.
I want to make a counterpoint to your GameCube point, because you can't knock Nintendo for making a console that includes Mario, Zelda, Samus, Smash Brothers, Mario Party, and whatever other game you mentioned off the top, I don't remember.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing by itself should.
It was a good game.
Yeah. So those 6 titles, let's say, that are like Nintendo staples. That's why you buy a Nintendo console. That's awesome. The only reason you get a Nintendo
and you're back on
is for the Nintendo games.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's a fair statement. I'm just saying those games in particular didn't excite me that much. Like, not as much as I thought that they would. And I guess to counter that was the other consoles had games that I was super interested in. So the console I bought, I then had to sell because I didn't play it anymore. So there we go. All right. The guilty pleasure game. This is a game that you loved, but you probably shouldn't. What you got, Lion?
So I struggled with this one. I came up with the answer. The answer I come up with is an RPG on the PlayStation called Azure Dreams. And the premise of this game is you are the son of a great dungeon explorer, and you come to this town that has kind of fallen by the wayside and needs built back up. And there's this giant dungeon/tower that you go in and explore and find loot, and you build up this town. It all sounds fine, right? But one of the main premises of the game is that there's like 8 women, or in this case girls, and you can court and or marry all 8 of them at the same time. And I played this game when I'm like 15, 16 years old, so like it didn't really I didn't get that this was like odd or unacceptable in any way. Like I didn't make the connection. It was just a game to me. But looking normal back, I think to myself, oh, this is a game about creating your own harem. That's awesome. And it kind of makes me want to go back and play through it again.
What was this on?
This is original PlayStation. It's called Azure Dreams. It's over there. I have it. It's over there somewhere.
Nice. All right, Triple, what's your guilty pleasure?
Like Lion, I struggle with this one, so I guess I'm gonna go with The Sims, because like you can just murder your Sims or get them adopted and like starve them to death, or make them really bad at cooking, and then like, I don't want to cook. Oh, just cook, and then they start a fire, and then the whole house
the house burns down. Yeah.
Or,
see, I would have thought your answer to this question would have been Grand Theft Auto.
No, why is that?
It's literally a game about stealing cars and murdering people.
It's Grand Theft Auto. I mean, that's like.
If that's not the definition of guilty pleasure, like, I don't know what is.
But whenever you have them swimming, the Sims swimming in a pool, and then you pause the game, take out the ladders, and then they're like swimming around like, I can't get out, and then all of a sudden they're like, hi, like, save me. Nope. And then Death comes over with his little whatever you want to call it, sling blade,
Scythe.
There you go. And then takes them away. They're dead.
Sling blade.
Mike.
All right, so so my guilty pleasure game is going to be Pokemon Snap on the N64. This
That's a good answer. That is a great answer.
I figured
Because
you'd get a
literally
kick out
all
of
you
this.
do is run around and take pictures of Pokemon. And
All you do is take pictures of the Pokemon. It's so stupid. Like, I'm not a big Pokemon guy, but I understand like the draw for like why people are into it. But getting into it, I didn't really know any of the Pokemon, but the ones that I do know are because of this game. And yeah, all you do is you ride around on your on-rails little cart, and you take pictures of Pokemon, and based on how they appear in the picture, how well it's centered, how many Pokemon, variety. Yeah. I don't know why I played that game
When I asked
a
you
lot.
about your favorite N64 games and you said that, I just was like, really? Like, I expected more out of you, Mike. Like, whenever you put this, I'm like, oh, wow. Like, I understand, like, Rush or, those were all appealing games to me but back in the day, too. And then I was like, Pokemon? What? I didn't know Mike was a Pokemon guy.
I'm not, but only for Pokemon Snap, apparently. All right, so let's move on here. We've got a proudest gaming accomplishment or achievement. You can do a literal achievement, like a trophy or something like that, or if you just conquered a game that you didn't think you could, anything like that. So, Lion, what you got?
I'm going to give two answers. So answer number one kind of satisfies both of the two criteria that you just gave. Answer number one is my first platinum trophy for getting all of the trophies in Final Fantasy 13. It is still to this day the only game I have a platinum trophy on.
Nice.
And I don't know
What are trophies again?
I don't know what motivated me to ignore Triple and that stupid question, but
Are they the copycat of achievements that Xbox had way before PlayStation? I think so. Yeah, that's it.
I think your video is freezing, Triple. All I hear is nonsense. Anyway, I don't know what motivated me to do that, but it took some grinding. And one of the trophies is, and this is one of the issues that I have with trophies in general, is that some of them are just dumb. In order to get a platinum trophy, you have to do really stupid things, like acquire one of every item in the game. And there are some items that if you don't acquire them at a specific time, you just don't get them.
Yep.
So then you have to replay the game, and it could be 30 hours in. So don't get me started on trophies. I'm not a trophy hunter, obviously, since I have one platinum. But something motivated me to get that platinum, and that was cool. That was fun. I enjoyed the journey to get there, and I set myself up with like guides and walkthroughs to make sure that I got there without screwing anything up.
Yeah. Can I ask a dumb question real quick?
Sure.
What is a platinum trophy as opposed to?
A platinum trophy is that's the trophy that you get that says you earned all of the other trophies in the game.
Okay, so it's like 100%. Like.
Well, it's
Okay.
100% of the trophies.
Sure.
So that's,
Okay.
that's what the nomenclature for the PSN is that you have bronze trophies, which are easy to acquire, silver trophies, which are a little harder, gold trophies, which are the hardest in the game, and then there's one platinum trophy for every game that represents that you achieved all of the other trophies that are
Gotcha.
out there.
Okay.
My second answer to this question is I play World of Warcraft, and I led a raid group at the beginning of this current expansion, Legion, and we killed and defeated the first raid on normal difficulty without like getting carried. And it's the first time that I have ever, one, led a raid group, and two, actually raided seriously. And we did it one night a week. It was not like super serious. We're gonna sit down for 4 hours and everybody has to make no mistakes and anything like that. But it was casual, it was fun. We had a great time doing it, and we like achieved it. Like we beat the boss, the final boss. And that moment where we finally got the boss down on the fourth pull, which was 2 pulls after we said we're not doing any more pulls, was incredibly satisfying. It was incredibly satisfying. And I don't lead that raid group anymore. I just led that raid group for the one raid. I didn't want to lead over the raid group like for the entire expansion because it's incredibly stressful to do. And it got to the point where I wasn't looking forward to it anymore. I was dreading it. And that's when I knew it was time to step away. But that was, achieving that goal with, my friends that I've been playing this game with for a long time was incredibly satisfying.
Good deal. Triple, what you got?
Nothing like spectacular, but one of the best times that I remember is on Halo 2. I believe it was Halo 2. You were driving the Mongoose. I was on the back, had a couple sticky grenades, and was able to stick a guy with a plasma grenade while driving on the back of a Mongoose. And I've actually got that clip, so I'm going to cue that
Do
up.
you really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're the clip master. This is like from 14 years ago.
Yeah, this was before they actually had like record that, and like it was going through a composite video to USB and then recording. This one I might have actually been recording through a DVD recorder, but anyways.
See, I just take my phone and I just record things here, and then I show the video like this. That's how that works.
Yeah, we didn't have phones like that back in the day.
Roll that beautiful bean footage, Triple.
Yeah.
You're so tech savvy, Lion.
But sticky grenades were the best back in the day.
Sticky grenades were so amazing. I remember when I was playing Halo with you guys. Was it Halo 4 that I played with you guys?
Yes.
A little bit. I borrowed, again, never actually purchased an Xbox. I borrowed somebody's Xbox 360, and I played Halo with you guys. And I remember there were multiple times when Zach and I would fight over who had the best sticky of the match. And frequently it was on each other. Like Zach would be running into a bunch of guys, and I'd throw a sticky on the back of his helmet and let him run in, and then a lot of people would die. It was great.
That's why I would have a kamikaze plasma grenade contest.
Well, it's so funny. Like, back to Halo 2, when we first had like our group get together, everybody had their role. Like with Halo, everybody can do everything. There's not like classes and stuff like a lot of games have now, but we still had individual roles that people would fill. Johnny was our sniper. I was the driver / rifle shooter. Triple was the sticky grenade thrower. That was his role.
We didn't even know that was possible. Who made that into a role?
Yeah.
Triple did.
But like I'm gonna show you this. Like, Triple is entered into my phone. Hopefully you guys can see this, but
they're not gonna be able to see it.
Well, anyway, this little blue symbol thing that you have there, that is the trophy or the
Medal.
The medal that you would get in Halo 2 and 3. Whenever you'd actually stick a guy, it would pop up with that medal. And so I've assigned that to Triple in my phone because that is appropriate. All right. I'm going to hit 2 brief accomplishments real quick. Both dealing with Halo games, I know. Shocker. So, for Halo 2, we all spent a ridiculous amount of time playing this, but I still think it's pretty impressive, at least for me. I pulled this up on Halo Waypoints the other day, but I ended my Halo 2 career with a 1.25 career kill to death ratio. And that's 79,059 kills to 63,332 deaths over the course of 7,879 games played.
That's a lot of Halo.
That's a lot of Halo. That's for my Chubbles account. That's not counting, like, I had one other account for a short time, but we're not going to talk about that. But...
What was the name on that one? Let me look at
moving on. So that's one, and that's more just a career, highlight there. But for Halo 3, I did not 100% a lot of games, achievements-wise, for the 360, just because I would either get on for the multiplayer, or I would get on for part of the campaign and then lose interest or whatever. But Halo 3, I'm still to this day 5 points shy of 100%ing that game. Now, with PlayStation, you have bronze, silver, and gold. You said, right?
Yep.
But is there like point values assigned to any of those, or is it just a?
There's no points. It's just
so that's
just the trophy.
So that's how the Xbox did their achievements. Everything had a point value assigned to it based on its rarity or complexity to get. So they would range in anywhere from 0 points up to 300 points. If it was a stupid game like King Kong that came out and there was 6 achievements.
Yes, it was one for every chapter.
Yeah, you literally go through the campaign, you 100% of the game. It was so stupid. Anyway, with games like Halo 3, you had your standard 1,000 points, but every expansion or DLC pack that came out gave additional achievement points as well. I think each one was 250 points, I want to say.
Sounds about right.
Because I think there's 1,750 gamer score possible with that game. I believe. I may not be right on it, but I am 5 points shy. And the one stinking achievement that I'm still lacking is the 2-for-1. Get a double kill with the Spartan laser on a ranked free-for-all match. Are you kidding me? You know how hard that is to do?
Especially now.
Yeah,
especially now.
I tried getting that specifically for that one stupid achievement. Ugh. Anyway, that to me I thought was a pretty decent achievement, getting 700 or 1,745 out of the 1,750 possible points on that.
So wait, your best achievement is that you almost achieved a perfect score?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm not counting the games I actually 100%ed because they're not as difficult.
Yeah, obviously.
All right, biggest gaming regret. Triple or Lion, what you got?
I really struggled with this one. I looked at this and what I'm going to answer is a little strange. So it is less of a specific answer and more of a general answer. My biggest gaming regret is that I buy so many games and I finish very few of them. And I'm incredibly guilty of this even now. Like, I tell myself, 10 years ago I told myself, okay, Wes, you're not going to buy 6 games this year and finish one. That's stupid. Buy one, finish it, and then move on. But then, of course, that never happens, because then I've got this guy over here that says, hey, let's play this game. And I got this guy over here that says, hey, let's play this game. And then I've got World of Warcraft, which is like life dominating at times, or can be. And I find that I pull myself in so many different directions, and I never finish anything. So one of the projects that I set out here a couple months ago at the beginning of the year is I made a list of all of the games that I'd bought in just the last 2 years. Okay, it's like 30 or 40 games in the last 2 years. That's it. Not anything that I bought before that. Sorry, you're not getting played. And I said, I'm going to go through this list, and I'm going to play one game at a time per console, and I'm going to finish them, and I'm going to mark down that I finished it so that I can feel some sort of accomplishment and explain to my wife why I buy all these games and don't finish them. So that's in a roundabout way, my biggest regret is that I don't I don't spend enough time specifically on the games when they come out, as they come out, and I end up overwhelming myself and stretch myself too thin gaming wise, and a lot of good games get lost in the shuffle. Valkyria Chronicles for the PlayStation 3 and now re-released on the PlayStation 4 is one of the greatest RPGs that I've ever played, half of. And, you know, I would love to sit down and replay the remastered version. I bought it, you know, 2 years ago. I just haven't.
Not enough time.
I don't have time. You know, it's what happens. We are the gaming, sports, and life in general. Even though this specific podcast is mostly going to be dedicated to gaming,
Absolutely.
Life happens. I'm married, kids. I bowl. I play golf. I have a job. I have friends. All two of you. I like to go watch movies. I like to actually spend time with my wife, not just have one, but actually do things with her. So yeah, like finding time to play games is incredibly difficult, and it ends up making me stay up too late, and then I have to get up really early, and then I'm tired all day. As you can probably tell by Chubble's bloodshot eyes, he does that every night.
Yeah.
So like it's. I have this picture of a picture that I saw on Twitter a couple months ago. That's like got all of your life priorities set up in like hour blocks, right? Like you have sleep and work, and then food, and then you have your gaming time, and you have to eat, and you have to go to work to make money, and you have to sleep. And then the second panel of this picture was, well, do I really have to sleep? And they like shrink the sleep box down to as little as possible to be able to fit in everything that they wanted to do. And I know, if you're a gamer, you know that feeling.
Yeah.
So that's it for me.
Average bedtime 12:30. Mike, I looked up your Halo 3 stats, and it does say 1,745 of 1,750.
Yeah.
But down the percentage, it has a full 100%. So
rounding! Yay, rounding!
So if that makes you feel any better, by Xbox.com, you do have 100%. So
that's right. You ever need a cheap Victor, just Triple, he'll find it for you.
Biggest gaming regret: buying the Halo Master Chief Collection.
Ooh, that one just hurt right in the side.
Enough said. Horrible release. Took 3 or 4 months to get it to playable, and then by that time Halo 5 was out and everybody left.
So they never really fixed it, right? Like you guys never ended up playing it
for like a month, I think, and then Halo 5 came out, and everybody's like, "Oh, let's go play Halo 5." I'm like, nope. But hopefully, I've heard rumors that the 10th, I think there's an announcement for backwards compatibility. I'm thinking that the original Xbox Halo games are going to be coming back to backwards compatibility on the
That'd be
Xbox
cool for you
One.
guys. It'd be cool for you guys to be able to get back into Halo 2 and play Halo 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will. Because look at this stack. Look at this stack right here, boys.
It's a lot of Halo games.
Your video is frozen, so I'm going to let them know that.
No.
Yeah, it's definitely a night for technical difficulties.
That's all good. Nobody wants to see my
stupid
fat face anyway. Yep, my stupid face. Very punchable face.
They see it. It's frozen, smiling.
Logan Morrison. Very punchable face.
All right. So my biggest gaming regret, I'm going to say the Mass Effect series. I never got to play them. I wanted to. I loved Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic 2. I loved those games. So when I heard that same company was making a new...
BioWare.
When BioWare was going to make a new one for the 360, I thought, yes, all in. And it looked cool. It got great reviews, and we were just too busy with life and Halo and everything else. I never really got a chance. I finally did get a chance, and I bought Mass Effect 1. I got Mass Effect 2 as a Christmas gift one year. I still think to this day I have Mass Effect 2 in the cellophane somewhere because I've never opened it. And Mass Effect 1 I played maybe like 3 hours of, and then I just I could never dedicate time to do it.
You need to put Red Dead Redemption in there also.
We still can't see it. It's still
crap. Well, yeah, that's among my stack here that I've still never played, but I have it. I have the Game of the Year edition staring right at me right now. I'm such a poor gamer.
Happens to all of us.
Just like Wes said, not enough time.
Not enough time. All right. Most disappointing game.
I'm going to hop on my soapbox and say my answer to this question is anything that has DLC in it. More specifically, anything that has DLC in it that is required to tell the whole story. Stuff like Breath of the Wild for the Switch has a season pass and has DLC on it that has kind of a continuance of the story and some extra dungeons, but it like the game itself like has its story. The biggest egregious aggravator in this category for me recently was Final Fantasy 15. I was incredibly excited for Final Fantasy 15. I consumed all of the pre-content, the videos that they did on YouTube and Brotherhood, and the telling of the stories of these 4 characters. It hooked me, and I am incredibly excited to see what this game was going to be about. And I got through some hours of it. I got sick for a couple days, and I didn't get a chance to get back to it for a couple months later. And I did some more research and come to find out that you actually had to have the season pass to finish like the whole encompassing story, and that they were going to create more DLC to continue the story. So the idea of a game on console releasing with a unfinished story was incredibly upsetting to me. And now you can say, well, Wes, you said earlier that you play World of Warcraft. What's different between World of Warcraft and their expansions and a console game that has DLC? And I will tell you what the answer to that question is. A console game is meant to sit and play and finish and be done. That is the console era that we all grew up with the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox and N64, and that was what a console game was meant to be. Is you sit down, you play it, you assume or absorb the story, and you're done. It's just like reading a book. When you read a book, assuming it's not a trilogy of books, but a book, you read it, the story ends, and that's it. An MMO RPG in the PC world is a completely different animal. You go in knowing that this is not going to be a complete game at any point. It's always going to be a work in progress. And every 2 years, you're going to have to spend another $60 on an expansion. That's just the way it is. And I'm okay with that. Like, I buy into that, and that is the expectation that I have. I am not okay with the console generation going in that direction. I don't want to spend $60 on a console game only to have 2 months later have to buy the Destiny 2 Season Pass to get the Curse of Osiris patch.
Yeah.
Or pay just as much for the DLC as you do for the entire game.
Do for the whole game. It doesn't make any sense. And I am so mad. I'm so mad that Final Fantasy 15 released this Royal Edition for $49.99, $10 cheaper than original retail, that includes all this other DLC that if you had been playing the game the whole time, like, you had to spend retail dollars for. Like, this is stupid. Why are consoles? Because people are dumb and will buy it. That's why they do it. So anyway, I'm done. I think I've been on this soapbox already, so I will step off and throw it to Triple.
That was a pretty tall soapbox.
Halo Master Chief Collection again.
Kind of fits right in with the last one.
Yeah, exactly.
That seemed like a slam dunk right there for you. I'm gonna go a little off here. I'm gonna say Tom Clancy. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, if you don't say that, then I'm a little shocked.
Well, I knew you were gonna say it.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to double up on that.
He's prepared.
So I'm gonna say Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. When we were kind of searching for a game to play, when Halo was kind of getting stupid and basically where it is now, we started kind of searching for games to play, and we thought, oh man, this Ghost Recon Wildlands is coming out. This sounds like something so cool. It's like Grand Theft Auto, only it's Tom Clancy, and it's built on stealth, and you can fly helicopters to do the mission. You can drive a car in to do the mission. You can sneak in on foot and do the mission. You can do whatever you want as long as you get the mission done. This is awesome. Well, it was cool and all, and then you got this mission done. Then let's go to the next mission, and we do the exact same thing. And then we'll go to the next mission and do the exact same thing. And then for me, it got extremely old really fast. And I don't know, I was expecting a little more as far as variety and depth of the game, but it looked good. There was quite a few bugs in it early on, but to me, it was a little disappointing.
I mean, what game doesn't have bugs early on anymore? I mean, that's just part of what you have to accept nowadays.
You say Tom Clancy, and that also reminds me of another very disappointing game that I regret buying was The Division. Horrible.
You didn't like The Division. I didn't mind it.
What about The Division did you not like, Zach?
Okay, like, it's kind of based like Destiny, I see. You get loot crates, you get better weapons and stuff like that. Destiny's set in the, like, fantasy future, whatever you want to call it. It's believable. You have armor, you have other stuff, but the Division's set in reality, but yet you pump 2 full mags into a guy and he doesn't die. It's like it just takes away from the immersion of the game. Like, they're two polar opposites of each other, and
that's fair.
It's weird. I shoot a guy.
So it's not so much the gameplay. It's the setting,
the premise. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said. I mean, if you was in the future, you have shields or whatever, special armor. Yeah. It takes damage or whatever. But this is reality. It's based in reality. But yet you pump 2 full mags into the guy's head and with no armor, and he's like, "Hey, how are you? I'm gonna shoot you once."
Not even.
I'll give you a little bit of credit here. Most of the time, I think your stances and points of view on things are really stupid and based on not reality.
Fake.
And most of the things that you say are just dumb. That is an incredibly intelligent observation and a really good point. And if you look at that and say this is completely unrealistic on a game that is supposed to mirror some sort of present day post-apocalyptic world, yeah, I'm all in. I'm on your side for the first time in history. So yeah.
And it's not even like the 2 mags is what you're talking about. I mean, you can have a team of 5 like we were having, or 4 or 5, and everyone is pumping in dozens of magazines to these boss characters, and it's a chore.
Yeah.
To take down this one dude.
Well, let's sponge.
Then I got the same gun, but it just does more damage. Like a 5.56 round can really do more damage because it's gold.
Well, but it was, for me, again, you get into the RPG elements where you have to get the different themed attachments. You could have the set, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You have the set that would give you additional abilities. That part was kind of neat for me, trying to hunt down and get the complete set of armor, weapon, and things like that. All right. Final question here. What is your most wanted game that currently does not exist? Lion.
Let me go to the shelf one more time. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a greatest hits copy of Final Fantasy Tactics. This is the greatest game ever created. The greatest game ever created. This, while a greatest hits case, is a day one copy of the original PlayStation disc with a sticker to denote number 72 of 75 that were in stock at the store in which I purchased it. This was number 72 of 75. Why do I bring this up, you ask? Because there has not been a true sequel to this game ever created. And the ending of this game basically has the main character and the main character's family member riding off into the sunset. Not to spoil anybody who hasn't played the game and wants to experience it.
Come on.
Riding into the sunset with nobody knowing what their role in the game was. This game is set basically in a kind of a European, Ivalice is the name of the world, a European war era, and you've got one side of the war fighting against another side of the war, and the main character kind of is originally on one side of the war and looks at both sides and says, you're both wrong. You're both creating war for each other, and you're both, warmongering evil empires. And the main character fights for truth and justice against both sides. And in the end, the story goes, and history never knew what this person did, even though they ended up saving the world from, devastation. And but the war wasn't over. And the ending cutscenes, things happen, and they leave it relatively wide open to be able to roll a sequel just 2 years later. Let's have Final Fantasy Tactics 2 and roll the sequel. And they never did. And I have been clamoring for the true sequel to they've made other tactics games in the Ivalice universe, and they've actually reused the Ivalice universe for Final Fantasy 12 and following subsequent Final Fantasy games, but they've never created an actual true sequel to the story of Ramza and his family in what happens after the War of the Lions is over. And I have been waiting, and I will likely wait for the rest of my life for a true sequel to this game, which again is the greatest game ever made. Number one at the top of my list of games ever played. You're up.
Mike, go ahead. I don't want to take yours. I think that we might have the same, but I'll switch it if you have something different.
I guarantee we don't have the same thing.
Then go.
I
He sounded
I
so
have
sure
not-
of himself just 2 seconds ago.
No, I am. I'm just collecting my thoughts. I have not played a good, licensed Major League Baseball simulation game for going on 13 years now. Maybe even 14. Let's travel back to 2004. This is the last good baseball game that was playable on the Xbox. The original Xbox, which was MVP Baseball 2005. I believe it had Manny Ramirez on the covers. Great game. What? Oh, that was 3. So this one was Pujols on the front. Anyway, great game, wonderful game. Then EA decided, or EA quit making licensed baseball games, and 2K took over for the Xbox. And I believe EA has never made a game since then, baseball-wise. So 2K Sports then took the reins and came out with their awful 2K6, 2K7. Fast forward until 2K12, I think, was the last iteration of their awful baseball games. I regrettably bought a couple of them in the meantime, and they were okay. The gameplay was bad, but I could at least sim seasons. I could do fantasy draft type things on there, and that was fun. But it was not the show. I mean, I played the show a couple times at buddies' houses, started characters, and did the Road to the Show feature. That was so great. It was so fun. But there has not been a licensed game, and since 2012, the show is literally the only console baseball game, simulation game that you can get. And that's extremely frustrating for a Microsoft guy as myself. So that would be the thing that I would want to play that currently does not exist.
But It does exist.
Not in his world. In your world, it does, but not in his.
We've been over this. If money was not an issue and I could just go buy a PlayStation and get the show and get PSN so I can play online and everything, I would do it. But I can't justify spending $400 on a console, $60 on the game, $60 a month to get the PSN for one game. I want to. Don't get me wrong. I want to.
You can find a used one for 200.
Yeah, Lion tries to talk me out of doing that though.
I do, because if you're gonna buy a used one, you might as well just buy a new one. And then if you're gonna buy the new one, you might as well get the Pro. And then a $200 expense is turned into $500 plus the game, plus PSN,
Exactly.
plus PS Plus.
Keeps on giving.
And so if you want to try to come convince my wife that that's a good decision to make,
That's
then
not
by
gonna
all
happen.
means.
I have to sit by her at the Avengers movie. I am not doing that.
Hey, I'm gonna be there also.
Yep.
On the opposite side of the theater.
Yes. All right. Mine would probably be a good Star Wars game that's not made by EA, and sort of has sort of like Knights of the Republic. There hasn't been a new one that's been made. I kind of like the Force Unleashed ones, but the one game that I really liked was the way back when was Star Wars Jedi Academy. I think that was actually the second one that I played. You could build your own lightsabers. You went on missions and stuff like that. That was fun. And I haven't had a good game like that in a while.
The Dark Forces series is incredible. Dark Forces, Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, all of those games were phenomenal. Incredibly superb games, and I echo your sentiments on a good Star Wars RPG. Like Battlefront's fine for what it is, but in the end, it's Call of Duty with a Star Wars skin. Like that's all it is.
I was
And
gonna say Battlefield with Star
Yeah.
Wars skin, yeah.
and that's what it is, and that's fine. Like if you like to play those types of games, and you want to put a Star Wars skin on it, that's fine. The gameplay is fine, but like we haven't seen a Knights of the Old Republic type game in a long time, and I would love for you hear lots of rumors about Old Republic, which is the Star Wars The Old Republic, the PC MMO, which is free to play now. So Zach, if you have a PC that can play the game, I mean it's free to play. You can spend $15 a month on a subscription and get like faster experience and faster leveling, but you get access to all of the character stories if you have a PC that can run the game for free. And it's, by the way, would be well worth it. All of the original class stories in that game are incredible. I've played through 2 of them, and they're superb, top notch. I keep waiting for that game to die because it's been around for about 6 years now, and
It's already been 6 years.
yeah, 2012.
Wow.
I want this game to die so that a new age, new technology, true Star Wars RPG can really like be created and fleshed out. So I totally echo those thoughts on a great Star Wars RPG for sure.
Somebody else is going to make it other than EA because EA just ruins it all.
Well, EA is not going to make a RPG. Like that's not going to happen. So BioWare made Old Republic on PC. I don't know that BioWare would make the next one, but
Isn't BioWare dead now?
yeah, I don't think that they currently. I don't know what all the status of game companies. I don't follow
They
a
all
lot of
die
gaming news.
and then they
Yeah,
regenerate
get
as something
reborn
else.
with a different name, and yeah. But I am in total agreement that a good Star Wars RPG is definitely on the list. And I feel like with the new movies and the new settings and the new all of the new direction that Disney is taking, Star Wars, that it's right around the corner. because Disney doesn't really support anything with the Old Republic PC game, and there really hasn't been a real like solid Star Wars game outside of Battlefront. Which again, I mean, it's got 6 to 10 hours of good story content, but then why are you paying $60 for 10 hours of story content? You play that because you like the PvP and shooter FPS stuff with a Star Wars skin, and again, that's fine. But a good Star Wars RPG is definitely needed.
Well, the only one that I can remember recently is the Force Unleashed 2. I mean, it wasn't an RPG, but it was the only thing close to it as opposed to the first-person shooter.
Yeah.
So.
No, the Knights of the Old Republic games were excellent, and I would love to see something else come back in that vein.
Yes, totally agree.
Is that compatible?
Not.
Reason that was, but...
Well, those were original Xbox, weren't they?
I know the Knights of the Old Republic was.
I didn't play them on console. I played them on PC, so I can't.
Yeah.
I can't offer an opinion.
They're always backwards compatible for PC.
Yes, they are. PC Master Race.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna wrap up our Q&A. So thanks for doing that, guys. That was fun.
All right, we are currently sitting at like 53 minutes on this one, and then 23 on the other one. So, are we wanting to maybe do sports the next episode, or we wanted to get into a little bit of sports real quick?
I mean, it would be kind of nice to touch on our brackets just real quick, but we don't have to go into depth with baseball or anything right now if we want to wait until next time.
Brackets is fine. Let's go.
All right. So, Triple thought it would be neat for the three of us to each...
Not now, I don't.
So we each submitted a bracket on ESPN, and we made our own little group. And we were able to track it through March Madness. And who won?
Some guy named Chubbles was the victor of the bracket.
Yeah, that's right. I somehow, through all the craziness, I ended up getting 3 of the 4 Final Four teams correct somehow. Chicago, or Loyola Chicago, shocker, was the one that I missed. But I did get Michigan, Villanova, and Kansas correct, which I did really well on the right side of the bracket. I think I only had 6 misses total. But Virginia was my team that I picked to win it all, so obviously I was hurt right at the get-go, but I had so many other correct choices that it carried me. At one point, I was in the 100th percentile, again, rounding up. According to ESPN, I think I was 2,200.
2208
was my overall rank out of the 18 million brackets that got submitted or so. I don't know how many there were. Millions, but...
It's up right now, so they're looking at it.
Oh, gotcha. Thanks. Okay, cool. So, yeah, this is the best bracket I've ever done. And at first I was just... yelling at myself. I thought, man, this is such a boring bracket. I just took the higher seeds, except for a couple of upsets like Loyola Chicago and some of those in the first rounds. But I'm not going to lie, I didn't pick them to go as far as they did. But it was fun. So, Lion, how'd you do?
My bracket came in second place. You and I had the same Final Four. Correct. Anyway, we both had Villanova, Kansas, and Michigan in the Final Four. I had Kentucky. You had Virginia. You had Virginia going all the way. I had Kansas beating Villanova and then winning the national championship. If Kansas had beaten Villanova, my bracket would have won.
Yep.
But that didn't happen, and Villanova slaughtered Kansas and then slaughtered Michigan. Clearly the best team in the tournament, and it wasn't close. Yeah. So, but like yours, I missed like 2 games at all in the Eastern bracket where it was Nova coming out of that one. I missed a couple of upsets. I had Michigan State playing against Kansas instead of Duke in the Midwest, and I had New Mexico State making the Elite Eight. Whoops, they lost against Clemson. I did pretty good in the West. I had Gonzaga going to where they got. and I obviously had Michigan coming out of that division. And then I did pick my alma mater, Kansas State, to get to the Sweet 16, and I was successful.
Well done.
I did not pick them to beat Kentucky, which they did, and I am not sad that I didn't pick them because there was no reason for them to win that game. Kentucky was so much more talented than the Cats. They're the Kansas State, since they're both Wildcats. But I'm very happy that the Cats made the Elite Eight, so that makes my second place finish in the bracket a little bit easier to swallow. Triple, how did your bracket turn out?
Horrible.
Wait, did you forget to actually submit picks or?
Yeah, I think he forgot the entire Midwest region. He just didn't fill it out.
No, I don't think that happened either.
Oh.
Yeah, it just, let's see, the 22nd percentile ranked 113.6 million. It's a little far.
That's some stellar work.
I was listening to an ESPN radio show, and there was an 8-year-old that picked, and I think they got 450 or 440. So I was like 10 points ahead of an 8-year-old. So
Well done, Triple.
all I can say is I don't know if I've watched a college basketball game in 10 years.
Well,
Yeah, I watched less college basketball this year than any other year, so clearly that was the key for me.
and this was really bad, Triple.
It was.
I hadn't really looked at it until now. Man.
No bueno.
Well, then I was like, well, I can't just pick the favorites to go every round. So, let's just
You
throw
picked
in
some
ups.
favorites. Like, you had Villanova getting to the
Good
Elite
Duke
Eight.
going.
You had Duke winning it all.
Yeah.
Horrible.
You picked Cincinnati to get to the Final Four. I could have told you that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not surprised anymore.
You're not surprised now that it's happened?
Yeah.
So, quick question for you guys. When you do, and Triple or Lion, I know you're not a huge bracket guy, but if you're filling out brackets and doing, these, do you fill out multiples for like multiple scenarios? Or are you like me and you kind of view your bracket as like your one bracket? Like this is your one chance to get it right. And I don't know, I'm kind of a purist when it comes to that. We do a pool at our work and it just makes my skin crawl when I see, oh, this person submitted 7 different brackets. No wonder they got 4 of them, in the top whatever, because they have had every other scenario covered. I don't know. How do you guys look at that when people fill out brackets?
I mean, it's called diversification, and when you're gambling, the diversification is what increases your chances of winning. That's why people do it. I don't do it because I don't gamble on brackets. I don't ever get in bracket pools. I haven't spent money on brackets ever. I make one bracket on ESPN, and I do it with my church group, and this year I did it with you guys, and it's just for fun. When I was growing up, I always thought filling out the bracket was printing out an actual bracket that wasn't complete and then writing in the teams that won. Like that was me filling out the bracket. Like it wasn't like, let's see how well I can predict these. It was cool to like print out the bracket and then write down all of the teams that won.
Yeah.
Like that was filling out the bracket to me. So I echo your thoughts on that. I only do one bracket at a time, but at the same time, like if I were actually gambling and in doing these, I would absolutely make as many as they would let me, and I would hope that if whatever pools you guys do limit how many brackets you can create. Otherwise, I mean, it's $5 a bracket, I'm going to create like 30 of these, spend $150, and and still have a really good chance of being in the top 10 at minimum, if not better, because I've covered so many different scenarios and have a chance to win the pot.
Sure. well, since my work is, well, we don't do cash because that would then be gambling, but we we do like have, it's a work sponsor thing, so we like have like a gift card or something that we can award the winner, but there's no cash involved with any of it. So
just so you know, gift cards are a payroll violation because gift cards count as compensation and they are not taxable. And because gift cards are not taxable and they count as compensation, you are avoiding paying payroll tax on those, and the IRS will come find you and kill you if you do that.
All right, well, I'll make sure my HR department knows about this right away.
Yep.
So they can clear that. Yeah, one bracket and one bracket only.
Yeah.
Did you even know what a bracket was before this year? Was part of the problem you didn't know how like the teams went, and like you actually picked the teams that lost instead of the teams that won? Is
That's
that part
exactly it. I thought we were talking about losers. And
Yeah.
It was opposite day that day, so whatever.
You thought this was like the master, like a bracket for the Masters. You're trying to get the lowest score.
Lowest score
golf.
advances.
Man, you dominated lowest score in this group for sure.
All right. Guys, we've been at this for a while. How about we call it a night?
Wrap it up.
All right. Guys, thanks for listening. Check us out on Twitter. Hey, we have a Twitter handle. I think we said that last time. But find us at GSL_podcast. Yeah, we should be posting some stuff on there. You can also find us on Facebook. Like and subscribe this YouTube channel. Yeah. Any final thoughts from you guys?
Other than the apologies for the massive technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's definitely Triple's fault.
All my fault.
Yeah.
Even
Well, we're not even going to talk about the half an hour we lost
From last week when we tried to
From
record
last-
the exact same podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
We did it. We finally got through it.
Yeah, I will say though that they need to try to hit the bell icon because we are not as thorough as we should, and don't get them uploaded as frequently and as the same time all the time. So if they notify, it will notify you guys whenever we do get it uploaded.
Cool.
There you go.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you next time.
We'll come out and stay. We'll come